Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So listening to you, everybody, you're watching the Simeon Henderson Show where we're giving a voice to the people, and we're sitting here with Aleida, and her story is just it's awesome, and your story is one of survival.
Yeah.
It's a story of survival and emotional abuse and going through toxic and traumatic experiences and things like that. And how would you describe yourself during and after the marriage? So we know you've told us what you were like before it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think you were getting ready to go into the marriage, but I wanted to just segue into that by saying, how would you describe yourself during that marriage?
Okay.
And then now after it?
Okay. So throughout the marriage, I feel like I lost myself completely. And he was a pastor, a senior pastor, and so my world just revolved around him and his purpose and his ministry. And after I had my daughter, I really just really lost myself. And so I felt like, and this is from hindsight, because again, when you're going through it, sometimes you're kind of on autopilot. You don't know, you might numb your emotions. So I think I was just kind of a robot, just whatever he needed me to be. I was trying to be that, to make him happy. So I would get some love in return.
Right.
Because I didn't have my own love for myself. So that was the marriage. Afterwards, I would say it actually got a little bit worse. Mm-hmm. Because just going through a divorce and all of that process, just a transition in life, I hit a low.
Right.
But then I guess God doesn't let me get too far. So I got just intentional about my healing process. Right. At first, it started with going to counseling, and I went to just a secular, normal therapist, which was good. Cognitive or talk therapy. It's just good to vent.
Yes.
And just talk things out. And then sometimes when you start talking and thinking of stuff, you start piecing things together like, oh, okay.
You start realizing
some things. But sometimes we just hold stuff in. We don't talk to nobody. We distract ourselves, and you just passively go throughout life. But that just got me to a certain point.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, God, I need to go deeper. Because, I am a woman of faith. I do understand prayer, and inner healing, and deliverance, and all of that. So I'm like, okay, God, I need to go deeper. But because of the church community I was in, I just kind of felt, I was like, I'm not, he was the senior pastor. I'm not going there. So, right. So I was just trying to figure it out on my own. But then I joined a new church, and someone from that church told me about she's a counselor, but she is a inner healing prayer minister. So I said, oh, okay, let me go to her. Right. And so I started going to her a few sessions, and I'm telling you, like, I started to see a big difference. Like things would come up. I feel like I'm a 9-year-old little girl crying, because of something that was locked in my soul.
You were going to the inside. You
Yes.
You would get to the root of the problem.
Yes. And so then I started, she also leads or hosts a inner healing prayer school through Elijah House Ministry. So I was like, okay, I want to go to the school. So as I was going through the school, I was also going through my healing process.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there, I'm learning, but through that process, I am healing.
Yeah. Yes.
And so now I feel like I have grown so much. I've gotten to know myself on deeper levels, like I've never knew myself before. I'm really getting to see myself as who God originally intended me to be, not who the world shaped me to be, not who my experiences shaped me to be, not what my marriage shaped me to be, not with the disappointment, I'm who God had in mind for me when I was in my mother's womb. I am becoming that woman. So
you hear that, ladies? And that's what it's about. There's so many, and it's just not ladies, there's men too. Yeah. There's so many people dealing with inner hurt, and they're scared to release it, or they don't know how to release it and how to let it go, and not only let it go, because if you don't let it go, it's still there, and it festers and it boils, and then it eventually comes out. The thing I like about your story is the fact that you were married to a senior pastor, and you went through this abuse from a man of God.
Yeah.
But you didn't let that take you away from God. because people use things like that as an excuse
Yeah.
to say, well, God don't love me. Look at this man. He a man of God. So why am I even worried about it? God, whatever.
I mean, I've
you
had all
didn't
those
do that.
thoughts.
I know you had them. No, and that's. My wife laughs at me when I say this, and my kids. No one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life.
Right.
So you're gonna have those thoughts.
Right.
You're gonna have those setbacks, those
Right.
roadblocks.
But
But
I
at the
didn't
end of the day,
Yeah.
you got to know who you are.
Yeah.
And whose you are, and you got to get up and dust yourself off, and you got to go for what you know, and that's what you've been doing.
Yes.
So
Amen.
I appreciate that, and so it's like, so what advice? So you guys, I hope you're getting this because this is good. What advice do you have, not only for women but just for people in general, that's dealing with low self-esteem and dealing with generational curses and deep-rooted hurt that they just can't seem to get out of?
Yeah. So I posted this not too long ago, but 90% of healing is recognition. So recognizing that you deal with it. So a lot of times people don't realize what they deal with. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of self-awareness and self-reflection. And so it starts there. And then also don't be afraid to seek community and seek help and to talk to someone. Again, therapy is not wrong. There's definitely different approaches or different people you can go to for healing. I'm a proponent of, regular counseling, pastoral counseling. And so definitely talk to someone. You're not alone. A lot of times, people feel like they're alone or there's no one that wants to help them and that they're not loved. And so, even if your community doesn't reflect what love looks like, always remember that God loves you, and he has a way. He has a plan for you. You just have to seek that. Yeah.
There you have it. Everybody, you're watching the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. You just heard from Miss Aleida. She is a proud mother, a writer, a soul prosperity coach, and she's the founder of the Best You Network, and she's also a certified inner healing prayer minister. And not only that, she's a life development coach. And if you want to know more from her, if you want to talk to her, if you just want to follow her, where can they find you?
So my website is www.thebestyou.net. I actually have a free resource on there, a guide on how to find yourself. So you can enter your name and email and get that for free. And I'm also on social media. Instagram is kind of my go-to. It's at The Best You Network.
All right, there you go, guys. We'll be right back with more of the Simeon Henderson Show. Big ups to my executive producer, Jamani Anamdi, my producer, Jose Perez, Ashley Easley, and all of you guys out there watching. We will be right back with our next guest, Miss Victoria Vann. Don't go anywhere.